Fox News Alert, we said we'd bring you President Trump. Here he is.
So while Israel is being attacked, while Ukraine is being attacked, while inflation is eating our country alive, I'm down here, and these are all political opponent attack ads by the Biden administration. Their poll numbers are terrible. You saw what happened today. The New York Times and CBS came out with a poll that I'm leading all over the place, but it's a very unfair situation. This is really election interference. That's all it is. This trial is ridiculous. The numbers are much greater than on the financial statement, and we've already proven that. They said Mar-a-Lago's worth $18 million. Mar-a-Lago's worth anywhere from probably 50 to 100 times more than that. And it's a terrible, terrible thing. These are political operatives that I'm going to be dealing with right now. You have a racist attorney general who made some terrible statements, and we just see some more that came over the wires today. It's a very sad situation for our country. We shouldn't have this. This is for third world countries, and it's very unfair. It's very unfair. But in the meantime, the people of the country understand it, they see it, and they don't like it. They don't like it because it's political warfare, as you would call it, or political lawfare. Another name. I got a lot of names for it, but usually it takes place in third world countries and banana republics. Nobody's ever seen that to this extent. We've never seen it here. But we will go along, and we will hopefully do very well in every regard. We'll win the election, and we'll make America great again. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make America great again. But we have to take away from the thugs that we deal with and the horrible people that actually must hate our country to do this. But we will we'll fight very hard for our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
So there you have it. President Trump gave some brief remarks and didn't take questions today. He has entertained a few in the past, but given the fact that he's going to be taking the stand, I'm sure that his lawyers and he himself wants to concentrate because he said he'll get through today. He did call it a political attack, warfare, or even lawfare, he called it, but then wraps it back around and brought up the point that President Biden's poll numbers are terrible, that this is from the New York Times poll and other polls. And he said, we will win the election, we will make America great again, and said this usually only happens in third world countries.
Yeah. Remember, the judge in this case has already rendered his verdict. Right? He's already found him guilty in this case, and we'll see what the president has to say on the stand. Keep in mind, he's under oath, and he's calling this a very unfair situation. As you point out, the AG calls her racist. He has said that repeatedly, and so we're about to find out how he does on the stand and how he characterizes his real estate properties. You mentioned Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, I mean, the real estate property in Palm Beach has gone through the roof over the past 5 years.
Right.
So as we wait on that, let's get to Nate Foy outside the courthouse today. Nate, going to be a fascinating day. Let's see what's going on there if you got us, Nate. We're on the air live now. Hello to you. Set the scene.
Bill, yeah, good morning. Former President Donald Trump is here right now, set to take the stand any moment to defend his business empire that New York Attorney General Letitia James claims was at least partially built on fraudulently valued properties. The former president, along with his 2 adult sons, they all deny any wrongdoing. You were mentioning some of the Truth Socials that former President Trump has put out this morning. He again characterizes this as election interference and again claims he's done nothing wrong. He posted just moments ago getting ready to head to the downtown Lower Manhattan courthouse to testify in one of the many cases that were instigated and brought by my political opponent, crooked Joe Biden, through agencies and surrogates for purposes of election interference. Now, Trump has voluntarily attended multiple days of this trial as a defendant, but this will be his first time actually taking the stand, other than a brief moment when he took the stand in relation to a partial gag order after he made comments that the judge found were about his law clerk. And that's been something that not only former President Trump has dealt with, but also his lawyers, as the judge expanded that partial gag order to include lawyers to prevent any comments related to members of his staff. The former president may take maintains that his properties are actually more valuable than were listed in financial statements at the Trump Organization. And last week, of course, Don Jr. and Eric testified. Both of them said that they signed statements of financial condition at the Trump Organization, but they didn't prepare those statements themselves. Don Jr. said he relied on accountants to do the accounting. And then President Trump's daughter, Ivanka, is set to be the final witness that the state will call in this case. A state court denied her request to avoid taking the stand, so she is set to testify on Wednesday. Again, after she is done testifying, the state will rest its case, and then former President Trump's lawyers will call their own witnesses and present their defense. Attorney General Letitia James tweeted about Trump's testimony this morning, writing, quote, "Donald Trump might lie, but the facts and the numbers don't." James also spoke on her way into the courtroom, saying that she anticipates former President Trump to continue name-calling and what she views as race baiting. But again, saying that the numbers and the facts don't lie in this case, whereas former President Trump says that this entire thing is election interference and that he's being politically persecuted, that the Attorney General campaigned on going after him, and that's what we're now seeing play out in this courtroom. The former president will be free to speak to the media when he's done testifying today, when he leaves the courthouse. His testimony is expected to wrap up today. So he's been outspoken throughout the case. It's a little bit different now that he's actually on the stand rather than just sitting at the defense table. But we'll see what the former president says after his testimony concludes, Bill.
So, Nate, this is a civil case. He has been found liable, I understand, right? So we are waiting to now see from this inside the courtroom what happens. And I'm curious if you could tell us in the minute we have left, how do you get information from the courtroom today so that we can get it to the viewers? What's the process since the cameras aren't in there?
So we have a reporter who is in there and tracking every single question that the state will ask former President Trump, and then she's transcribing his answers, and then she lets me know essentially point by point exactly what is happening on the witness stand. That has been how we've done things throughout this entire trial, including last week when Don Jr. and Eric were testifying. So again, I wouldn't expect former President Trump to speak to the media perhaps during the lunch break, or the morning session will wrap up in the early afternoon and resume at 2:15. I wouldn't expect any comments in the middle of the day, but perhaps after he's done testifying, I would expect to hear from the former president himself how he feels today went. Okay, and we have a few shots from inside the courtroom. This is what they sort of allow everybody to get a scene setter on video. So that's been consistent every single day. So there you see President Trump. This is history-making, Bill, as you said.
Yeah, unprecedented, right?
Yeah.
We've seen it before. And he's also the leading nominee in the Republican fight for the nomination.
By far.
Yeah, I had some words over the weekend at a rally an event on Saturday, I should say. And he made mention of it walking in, right? Mm-hmm. Polling shows I'm leading. This is called election interference. He said that repeatedly for the past several weeks. And he also said this is an unfair situation. So similar comments that we've heard prior.
And he's got a very determined look on his face, right? He's focusing, and I would say also one of defiance.
Yeah. So if you listen to some of these legal analysts, and Brett had a great constitutional attorney on last week. She was very knowledgeable about all this. She's a fast talker, right? We like fast talkers. And what she was making the case that even the judge has found him liable already. She thinks this case is ripe upon appeal because the valuations in real estate are not entirely concrete. A lot of the stuff is subjective, and that was the reference that she was making last week. So we'll see whether or not, but we're going to get to that point. The question is what will happen.
What will happen, indeed. So the two sons, Eric and Don Jr., testified last week. He testifies today, and then apparently the last witness is going to be Ivanka Trump, President Trump's daughter.
And she's tried to defy that, and she was denied. And at some point,
nope, you'll show up.
Yep, that's right. Whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll find out then. Okay,
and as we said, Nate Foy is there. Reporters in the courtroom. You'll have everything you need to know today as we take you through it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.